We have learned more than humanity has ever known about afterlife communication, more than anybody has known in the past century or so. We're learning more and more every day. And so we have learned how we can all have afterlife communication. We just have to help people to understand that. You should know that you can communicate with your loved one living in the life after this life. The first method is through psychotherapists. One of the psychotherapists is named Dr. Alan Botkin, a second is Rochelle Wright, and a third is Dr. Jane Bisler. These psychotherapists are explained at afterlifeinstitute.org/psychotherapists. You can go to a psychotherapist and you can sit in the psychotherapist's office, and the psychotherapist will help you go into a state of mind in which you can have an afterlife communication. The first of these is induced after-death communication, and this was developed by Dr. Al Botkin. Al Botkin was a psychotherapist at the Chicago Veterans Administration Hospital, and there he learned that his combat veterans, when he put them into a state of mind using EMDR, or eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, when he put them into that state of mind, they're coming back and saying, I just spoke with that person for whom I'm grieving. I spoke with that young man that I killed when we were at war. I spoke with my fellow soldier who was lost during battle. And they told me not to worry about what happened. Don't be concerned about it. You're going to continue to live after this life. And so you didn't worry about the person whom you killed in the next life. We co-authored a book you can look at if you want. It's Induced After-Death Communication. We'll give you more information about this method of communication. You can go to the website at inducedadc.com. It should be induced-adc.com. I think we left out a hyphen. And you can go there and you can find psychotherapists who are using this method so you can experience it yourself. The second method that psychotherapists are using is called repair and reattachment grief therapy. It was developed by Rochelle Wright, who was a psychotherapist in Washington State. She was state certified. And she developed Dr. Botkin's method, and she took it and made it better by allowing those who are in the life after this life to take charge. In other words, it's their therapy session. They decide what's going to happen. They decide how long it's going to happen. Sometimes these therapy sessions can go on for 8 hours because the person in the afterlife is trying to get messages through to the person who's living this life. These are wonderful sessions. What happens is that the people come in and they're grieving, and they on a scale of 1 to 10, they say that they are awful, they're abysmal, they're having a terrible time, and they walk out and they're refreshed and they're happy and they know where their loved one is. I also wrote a book with Rochelle Wright, so you can watch that. You can do that. This is an actual case of a woman who had an afterlife communication.
Immediately as my session began, I had headphones on and music playing and was following Rochelle's instructions. My daughter Kate came up in my head. The best way to describe it was...
And so then what she did was she had an afterlife communication with her daughter Kate, who is living in the life after this life. Anyone can have these communications. All you have to do is sit in the psychotherapist's office. They will put you in this state of mind. The next one is Loving Hearts Connection, which was developed by Dr. Jane Bisler. Dr. Bisler is a psychotherapist who is certified in the state of Ohio. She developed a method that is used online now. So you can go online and you can have this happen with you wherever you are, sitting in your living room. Go to clearingyoursoul.com/facilitators if you'd like to know more about this. But I recommend this one because of the fact that she then teaches you how to go into the state of mind yourself, sitting in your living room. The next method is self-guided afterlife communications. I developed this method and put it online because I had co-authored those 2 books with the EMDR psychotherapists, and I learned how to do it. And so I figured there ought to be some way that a person can put themselves into this state of mind. And so I developed the self-guided afterlife connections procedure. It's online. It's free. It's at afterlifeinstitute.org/self-guided. I'd invite anybody to go through. If you fill out the forms at the ends of the stages, then I will help you to go through it. The first stage teaches you about how you can have an afterlife connection. The second is about understanding what an afterlife connection is. Third is understanding your mind and how your mind can be put into a state of mind in which you can have the afterlife connection. An experience with connecting is going to be on stage 4. You actually go into an afterlife connection with your loved one. In stage 5, you have an extended conversation. So you go into a daydream in which you start talking with your loved one, and then the daydream goes into an afterlife connection. 6 is practice without music, with music, but without guidance. 7 is practice with no music and no guidance. So then you can just sit anywhere. You can sit in a doctor's office, and when you're having an appointment, close your eyes and have an afterlife connection. And the final stage is understanding the signs of presence. These are mental mediums. Mental mediums are the people that you think of when you think of having an afterlife communication. And we know that they're valid, and we know that you can have your connection sitting at home. All you have to do is by doing it on the phone. There is no space in the life after this life. So you needn't worry about where you are. You can connect with a loved one over the phone. So I'd recommend that you do investigate having an afterlife connection with your loved one using a mental medium. Now, don't just go to the yellow pages. Instead, go to the sites that have this information. Bob Olson's site, Forever Family's site, Mark Island's website. All of these sites have lists of physical medium or mental mediums that you can go through. The next is Voices Across the Veil. It's a wonderful service that was developed by Dr. Michelle Szabo. What she does is she has people come together on Zoom, and there will be 6 or 8 people. They'll come together, and there will be a medium there, a qualified medium, who will give readings for each one of the people. It'll be about 15 or 20 minutes. It's very reasonable in price, so I really recommend doing that. Michelle has developed this in connection with Dr. Bissler. And then she developed it. She continued to develop it until it's very valid method now. The next method is that you can use is meditations. You can enter a relaxed state of mind and have the intention of communicating with a loved one who's living in the life after this life. It's a skill. You can learn how to do it. People have gone into meditation and have taught themselves how to have their own afterlife communication. The reason that it's a skill that can be learned is because all you have to do is shut down the physical realm. Shut down the world around you. The world around you is interfering with getting the messages. We're getting messages continually from the loved ones who are living in the life after this life. They just don't bubble up into our awareness. They stay in the subconscious. And the reason is that we're living our lives. We're busy. We've got distractions. We have things happening. One of the people who learned how to do it in meditation was Maria P. Her sons had been killed by their father. She was devastated, and she needed to find a way to connect with them. And so what she did was she taught herself how to meditate. She wrote a book about her meditation and her experiences with her sons called Journey to the Upper Realm. I really recommend the book. It's available on Amazon.com. You'll understand what she did. She explains the stages that she went through in learning how to communicate with her sons. Another person who's learned how is named Annie Kagan. Annie is connecting with her brother in spirit. And in her case, it actually happened that her brother came to her and actually started the process. And as he started the process, then he communicated with her, and she allowed the messages to bubble up from her subconscious into her conscious mind. And learning that skill then enabled her to communicate with him. She also wrote a book I'd recommend. It's available on Amazon.com at The Afterlife of Billy Fingers. The next method is a pendulum. Carol Morgan, who is one of the Seek Reality founders, is very astute at using the pendulum, and Carol has been doing this work for some time now. This is Daryl.
Hi, everyone on Afterlife Forums. This is Carol, and I want to show you how I talk to Mikey when I'm on the forum. I think it will be helpful for you. I use this pendulum and this letter number disc where all the alphabet is on and all the numbers are on it. I hold the pendulum, and I'm going to hold my hand as steady as I can, and I start in the center of the disc, and I call for Mikey. Mikey, Mikey, only my Mikey. God, please watch over and protect me and my son Mikey. So he lets me know he's here. He starts moving it. And before we continue further, I just want to confirm, Mikey, stop it for a minute. I want to confirm how he answers my questions. Show them what you do when you're saying yes. Move it a little more, kid. Okay, show them what you do with the pendulum when you're laughing. He moves it at an angle. And show them what you do when you're saying no. Okay, so he moves it counterclockwise. So counterclockwise is no. Show me you're laughing is he moves it at an angle. It's got the same humor he had when he was here on Earth. And show him your yes. And it's clockwise. Okay, so we're going to start. Step the pendulum, Mikey, and here we go. I hold the pendulum over the center, and I call for him. Mikey, Mikey, only my Mikey. God, please watch over and protect me and my son, Mikey. He activates.
So you could read about her use of the pendulum in her book, Flying High in Spirit, which was written by Roberta Grimes. The next method is EVP or ITC. EVP is electronic voice phenomena. ITC is instrumental transcommunication. Both of these use devices. The foremost researchers who are doing this work, and they're recording the voices of children, especially in the Life After This Life, are Sonia Rinaldi and Sherry Pearl. They're doing marvelous work in helping people to hear from their loved one living in the Life After This Life. What happens is that they have a recorder running. In the background, they have vocal gibberish. And as the gibberish is playing, then they ask questions. When they ask a question, then the person in the Life After This Life responds. It goes onto the recorder. And when they play back the recorder, then it comes in. They ask a question, and they can ask as many as 10 or 20 questions, and they can record them. And then when they play back the recording, the person in the Life After This Life is responding to them. They wait 10 or 20 seconds after each question, and they ask another question and wait 10 or 20 seconds. And they continue through 8 or 10 questions in a session. And it's a marvelous tool, and anyone can learn how to do it. This is an example. So the researcher asked,
"Would you like to leave a message to your mother?"
Mommy, thank you.
So that was the child in spirits who said that.
"Would you like to leave a message to your mother?"
Mommy, thank you.
And what happens is that the child in spirit is being helped by technicians. So the child is not doing this alone. There are technicians who are backing them up and who are making the electromagnetic pulses come on to the recorder.
Say something to me in English to let me know I should use this.
I speak English.
So that's the child in spirit who the technicians are laying down electronic tracks. This is actually the person, the child. What they do is they send their thoughts, and the thoughts then are turned into electromagnetism.
Daddy, can you say I love you, Mom?
I didn't agree.
That's the researcher Sherry Pearl asking of her son who is in spirit. And what she did. And this is a person who is also a mother who had called in. You can find out more about these. And she actually has a method of afterlife communication using EVP, using ITC, and you can learn how to do it. So if you go to this site, you can learn how to do it. And we'll make those sites available to you if you have a question about what they are. The next one is automatic writing. You scribble words as they come to you. You just have a pad of paper and a pen in your hand. And as the words come to you in your mind, they bubble up from your subconscious. They bypass your conscious mind and you write them down. So when you do that, then you will get the procedures. It's very easy to do. You sit with a stack of 10 or 12 sheets of paper and a pen or pencil. Then after that, then you relax into an open receptive state. You scribble a statement or a question, and you scribble the first words that come to you. Don't hesitate. Don't stop. You have to just scribble don't worry about whether it's legible. And the messages then will come into your subconscious mind, and they'll bubble up into your conscious mind. I recommend, Teal Swan is a metaphysician, and I recommend her explanation of how to use automatic writing, you can get to it at seekreality.com. So this, as well as other resources, are available there. The next method is called mirror gazing or psychomantium. And in mirror gazing, you gaze into a mirror, you start to have a dialogue with the person in spirit, and then they will communicate to you in your mind, and then that bubbles up into your awareness. It's an ideal method of doing it, and we recommend that you learn how to do it because it will help you in making your connection. You sit in a darkened room where you can barely see anything. You prop up a mirror so it's tilted so you don't see yourself in the mirror. You're looking at a wall in the mirror. You relax, meditate, and you think of the person you want to connect with. And you go through pleasant times. Think about them and go through the pleasant times you had with them. What that does is to bring them to mind, and how it facilitates. Dr. Raymond Moody, who developed the idea of a psychomantium, explains it in his book, and I recommend any of his books, but you can find out more about this in Life After Life, one of his books. He then developed a method, and it is 70% successful in people having afterlife communications with their loved ones. In one incident, a person actually said they thought they were coming through the mirror. So that is a summary of the ways in which you can have afterlife connections. So I really would recommend that you investigate them. You will find a method that will work for you. And there's no doubt about that, because there are so many of them that are available and they're so successful.